The news broke on a Tuesday morning, sending ripples across the media landscape. Jimmy Kimmel, a fixture of late-night television for over 2 decades, was suspended indefinitely by ABC. The network's decision came swiftly following a monologue that pushed the boundaries of political satire further than ever before. During his opening segment, Kimmel had used digitally altered images, pointed commentary targeting high-profile political figures, leading to an immediate and intense backlash. The specific content, which we won't show here, was deemed to have crossed a line into malicious misrepresentation, a vague but forceful condemnation that left many asking where that line stands. The suspension was announced in a brief, sterile press release from Disney. The statement cited a violation of newly updated standards and practices meant to foster a more inclusive, respectful dialogue. It was a move that no one saw coming. Kimmel's show has long been a platform for his brand of humor, the silly, the sharply political. He has never shied away from controversy, but this time, the corporate response was different. It felt immediate, absolute, without the usual period of public debate or internal review. The silence from Kimmel's camp was deafening, adding mystery to the unfolding situation. For viewers that night, the absence of Kimmel was jarring. In his place was a rerun, a stark reminder of the void his departure created. The incident ignited a firestorm of speculation, turning a late-night segment into a cultural flashpoint. Hollywood's reaction was swift and overwhelmingly in favor of Kimmel. The community, often a tight-knit and protective circle, saw the suspension as an attack on the very principle of creative and comedic freedom. Tom Hanks was one of the first to speak out. In a widely circulated social media post, Hanks wrote, "Comedy is meant to provoke. It's meant to challenge. Sometimes it's meant to be uncomfortable. Silencing a voice like Jimmy's doesn't solve a single problem. It only creates a more dangerous one. The fear to speak at all." His words carried immense weight. The support didn't stop with Hanks. Jennifer Aniston appeared on a morning news program to voice her dismay. She described the suspension as a chilling overreaction, and highlighted Kimmel's unifying role and charity work. "We're talking about a man who opens his heart on television," Aniston stated, "who has used his platform for so much good. To have him silenced over a joke feels fundamentally wrong and frankly un-American." Her defense personalized the issue. Other late-night hosts formed a united front: Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, John Oliver. They deconstructed the absurdity on their own shows. They replayed clips of political roasts and biting satire from decades of television. The collective response turned a network dispute into an industry-wide standoff. The wave of celebrity support wasn't just defending a friend, it was about protecting creative territory. Many actors expressed concern, many writers expressed concern, many directors expressed concern. If Jimmy Kimmel could be suspended so easily, what did that mean for lesser-known performers or edgy writers? The fear was palpable. Hollywood was drawing a line in the sand. The controversy surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's monologue did not remain confined to the entertainment world. It quickly escalated, drawing the attention of some of the most powerful figures in Washington, D.C. Several prominent Republican senators, who had been the subject of Kimmel's satire, seized upon the incident. They issued joint statements. They appeared on cable news. They used the suspension to bolster their long-standing narrative about liberal media bias. One senator from Texas called the monologue a new low for public discourse. He demanded a public apology from both Kimmel and the ABC network for what he called defamatory content. The Federal Communications Commission was inundated with thousands of complaints from viewers across the country. Many of those complaints appeared to be coordinated by political action groups. The complaints urged the FCC to investigate ABC for potential violations of broadcast decency standards. While the FCC's authority over cable content is more limited compared to broadcast television, the sheer volume of complaints forced the agency to acknowledge the situation. The FCC chair released a cautious statement saying the commission was reviewing the complaints and monitoring the situation. The involvement of politicians transformed the debate. It became a partisan battleground. Democrats and their allies largely defended Kimmel's right to free speech. They framed the Republican criticism as a hypocritical attempt to silence a prominent critic. A congresswoman from California remarked, "It is deeply concerning when politicians use the levers of government to intimidate and silence their critics." "Whether you agree with the joke or not," she said, "the principle of free expression must be defended, especially when directed at those in power." The situation highlighted the immense pressure political actors can exert on media corporations. For ABC's parent company Disney, the stakes were incredibly high. Theme parks, film production, global media. The intense, organized backlash likely played a significant role in ABC's swift decision to suspend Kimmel. It was a stark reminder that in today's hyper-partisan environment, major corporations are often caught in the crossfire. Companies are forced to balance creative freedom against political and financial risks, pleasing no one in the process. The fallout from Jimmy Kimmel's suspension extended far beyond Hollywood studios and the halls of Congress, creating tangible consequences at the community level. One of the most notable examples of this ripple effect came from New York, where Zohran Mamdani, a progressive New York State assemblyman, was scheduled to be a keynote speaker at a town hall event sponsored by a local ABC affiliate. In a public statement, Mamdani announced he was withdrawing from the event, citing the network's decision to suspend Kimmel. He explained that he could not, in good conscience, participate in an event associated with a media organization that, quote, capitulates to political pressure and silences critical voices. Mamdani's withdrawal was a powerful act of solidarity that resonated with many. He framed his decision not as a protest against the local station, but against the corporate entity behind it. "This is not about one comedian," his statement read. "It's about the chilling effect that such corporate censorship has on public discourse. When a media giant like Disney punishes speech that challenges the powerful, it sends a message that dissent will not be tolerated. We must stand against that." His action was celebrated by free speech advocates and progressive groups, who saw it as a necessary and principled stand. It demonstrated that the controversy was inspiring tangible actions and forcing individuals and organizations to, choose a side. The impact was felt in other ways as well. Several advertisers caught in the crossfire of the national debate reportedly requested to pause their ad buys during the network's late-night block, uncertain of the programming future and wary of being associated with the controversy. This created a financial headache for ABC, compounding the public relations crisis. On university campuses, journalism and media studies professors quickly incorporated the Kimmel suspension into their curricula, using it as a real-time case study on media ethics and the precarious state of political satire in a polarized society, revealing the deep anxieties many feel about corporate power and the future of free expression. Ultimately, the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel laid bare the deep divisions running through American society. The public reaction was not a monolithic wave of either support or condemnation, but a fractured and contentious debate that played out in real time on social media, in op-ed pages, and around dinner tables. For every person who championed Kimmel as a free speech martyr, there was another who condemned him for what they saw as mean-spirited, partisan bullying, disguised as comedy. The hashtag #IStandWithJimmy trended for days, filled with messages of support and clips of his past charitable work. At the same time, the hashtag #CancelKimmel gained significant traction, fueled by those who felt his monologue was irresponsible and harmful. This stark divide reflected the country's broader political polarization. For many of Kimmel's supporters, the issue was fundamentally about the right to satirize and critique those in power, a right they saw as essential to a functioning democracy. They viewed the suspension as a dangerous act of censorship, driven by the complaints of thin-skinned politicians who could not handle being the butt of a joke. This group saw Kimmel as a courageous truth-teller, using his platform to speak for millions of Americans who felt disenfranchised or angered by the current political climate. His humor, in their eyes, was a necessary tool for holding the powerful accountable. On the other side of the debate were viewers who felt that Kimmel had indeed crossed a line. This group argued that the issue was not about free speech, but about basic decency and respect. They believed his monologue was not satire but a form of targeted harassment that relied on personal attacks and digital manipulation, coarsening public discourse in the process. For them, the suspension was a necessary corrective action, a signal that there should be consequences for using a massive media platform to vilify opponents. The Jimmy Kimmel affair, therefore, became a powerful cultural litmus test, and honestly, the fragile state of free speech in an era of intense division. The silence from Kimmel's time slot was loud, a nightly reminder of the unresolved questions at the heart of American culture.